That clip right there was me back in October 2025. My company always does something, sponsor something for breast cancer awareness. So we had did a fashion show, so I decided to participate in it. Now I'm moving very fast because I was pretty much doped up because I had been in so much pain off and on throughout 2025. I think towards the end of 2024 with a lot of inflammation and muscle pains and things of that nature. So I was taking muscle relaxers and probably took some pain pills or something. But anyway, that was me. And then like a few weeks before that, I had discovered a lump in one of my breasts, ironically. So during this time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, it can't be. But I had a doctor's appointment coming up in the beginning of November, so I was definitely going to let my gynecologist know about that lump. So, and I wasn't really too far behind in my mammograms either. I had one in 2024, and but I was probably like a few months behind, late for my annual mammogram. So that's the backstory of that video, and I'm going to share my testimony of my breast cancer journey. On December the 3rd, 2025, I got that dreaded call that after having a biopsy that the breast cancer was discovered. So this my testimony. So like I said, I got the diagnosis on December the 3rd, 2025. And I was at work at the time, when I got the diagnosis. It was like maybe 4:30. And then on top of that, I had got another message that same day that one of my cousins had a heart attack. So it was just really something. So when I got home, I decided to take pictures of myself because that was one thing I did not know what I was going to have to go through, what type of treatment, what I was going to look like, whether I was going to get sick, whether I was going to look sick. So I wanted to remember what I looked like before I got that diagnosis. So that's what this snapshot is. So actually, that fashion show took place on October the 30th on a Thursday, and then my GYN appointment wasn't until almost two weeks later on November the 14th on a Friday. So when I got there, I saw I had to get a new GYN, so that's why I was behind in my mammogram, because the lady I was going to before, she had left that practice. And then I decided, at this time I was making changes, trying to find all black doctors basically. So the woman that delivered my son, who is 29, I ended up going back to her. And the reason why I stopped going to her, because lack of insurance or something years ago. But regardless, I was just glad to get back to a black gynecologist. So I went to her and I informed her that I had thought I felt a lump in my breast, and then she did an exam and confirmed that it was. Then she got me scheduled for a mammogram, and probably, I think that Monday, that was on a Friday when I went to her, that Monday I went to have a mammogram. Now let's backtrack. This is how I discovered the lump. I was getting in the shower one day, and I felt like a pain in my breast, and it felt like I pulled a muscle. And then I kept feeling it. It was so small, though. It felt like a little, I thought maybe it was a muscle pull. So I was like, maybe this will go away. I just showered and then waited a week or two. And then I was like, man, this ain't going nowhere. I was like, but it was real small, maybe like the size of a pea. It was real small. It wasn't big. And then I was like, decided, to let my husband know. And I told him that, I thought I felt the lump. And then I had him feel it, and he said he thought he felt something too. So that's how basically I found out that there was a lump in my breast. And like I said, it was very small, like a pea size, it was very small. So I go to have the mammogram on November the 17th. That was on a Monday. And then, of course, they did see something. And then they told me I need to have a biopsy. And then I had the biopsy, I think it was that Friday after Thanksgiving, because they had a volunteer crew that came in that Friday. And so I went to get the biopsy done. And of course I was very nervous because I do not like pain. And they was like, oh, we'll numb you. You won't even, and they was right. I didn't really feel anything, to be honest, with the breast biopsy. I have had other biopsies that was very painful, but that breast biopsy really wasn't. So After that, and like I said, December the 3rd, when I got the call, the doctor was like telling me, you had a grade 1. I didn't understand what grade 1 was, because I'm like, all I ever heard of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So I asked him, was grade and stage the same? No, it wasn't. Grade 1, which meant that my cancer, it was the cells pretty much looked normal. It was a low grade. It was a slow mover. It wasn't growing real fast, so that was a blessing. Then he asked me, did I mind if he prayed with me? And he told me that he was a Christian before he was ever a doctor. And I said, yeah, sure. So he prayed with me, prayed that God would bless me with a good team of doctors around me. And I touched and agreed with him. And the Most High did just that. I had an excellent staff of doctors and nurses. Everybody was great. Even got me a black radiologist, and he was great. Him and his son, they both were great. So that was a blessing. So, and what I found out is that there are so many different types of breast cancers. I did not realize that. I thought you had breast cancer, you just had breast cancer, but it was so many types of breast cancers. So that was one thing that I learned along this journey. It was just so much information to take in. But the Most High was there with me, like he said in his word. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He was right there with me all the way.